If you clicked on this video, you're probably thinking about, planning, or wanting to come to Ireland and explore the wild Atlantic way, either in a camper van, a motorhome, or you're undecided. Watch this video first, learn the lessons we learnt, don't make the mistakes we made.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days.
Hi, my name's David, and I host Discussions with David. On my channel, we talk all things Ireland, droning, and basically try to document our adventures in our new home country of Ireland. We came across in 2024, and 2025 is only going to get better. So if you're thinking about coming to Ireland, just want to see some footage of Ireland, or learn a few things about campervan holidaying, then you have come to the right place. In today's video, the first of a 4-part mini-series, we hire a motorhome for 2 weeks. So we pack up, make sure we have all our essentials, set off from Dublin, our home, heading due south towards the southeastern Atlantic coast, aiming to see how far we can get in 12 days on our road trip, in the middle of winter, in off-season, in Ireland, over Christmas and New Year. Oh, and did I mention, we have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. This should be interesting. Day 1, we left Dublin around lunchtime with the aim just to get down to the southeast coast by nightfall, just about getting some kilometers under our belts, driving this motorhome and building some momentum. It was a Saturday, and a couple of weeks of planning and watching 100 YouTube videos on the wild Atlantic way, on campervan life, and on Ireland winter pros and cons was behind us. It all seemed overwhelming, so much to see and do. It was our turn now. Test out the van, our first camper trip ever, test out the narrow roads, see historic sights and landscapes, and see if it's worth our time and effort to do the wild Atlantic way, the world's longest defined coastal route, in the middle of winter when most things are closed. The first stretch of road was mainly motorway and national roads, getting out to Dublin, get some momentum and get a feel for this 3 meter wide, 3.5 meter high and 8 meter long monster of a motorhome. First impressions of the van, it was spacious, 2 double beds, table and seats for the kids to settle into with their iPads, keep them busy, kitchen with a fridge, gas stove and sink, and a bathroom with a small shower, toilet and basin. The basics, but quite cozy and comfortable. A 2024 model with only 24,000 kilometers on the clock, drove smoothly and promised good diesel fuel economy. The only initial issue were those darn rattling cups and plates. Or at least we thought they were the rattling cups and plates. Every time we went over a bump, rattle, rattle, rattle. Our first stop was at the Rock of Cashel, some 180 kilometers south of Dublin. The Rock of Cashel is also known as the Cashel of the Kings and St. Patrick's Rock. We got there in the late afternoon and the wind was quite strong, but from our first sight of the rock, sitting atop a hill towering over the town of Cashel, you could feel the enchantment of the place. Eager to get some aerial footage, we circled around the lower levels of the rock and found a parking area for a quick takeoff and fly around with my drone. The first drone flight of many on this trip. However, as it was a large hill, the line of sight would be a challenge and had to do a few takeoffs in darkening windy conditions. Still got some epic footage. Those green uplights were an eerie and magical sense of place for the Rock of Cashel. The place really has some historical significance. It has been a site of religious and political importance since the 4th century. It was the traditional seat of the Kings of Munster and is reputed to be the site where St. Patrick's converted the King of Munster in the 5th century. The site features a collection of impressive medieval buildings, including a round tower, a Gothic cathedral, a chapel and an abbey. The oldest buildings date back to around 1100. According to local legends, the Rock of Cashel originates from the Devil's Pit, a mountain 20 miles north of Cashel. It is said that St. Patrick himself banished Satan from a cave, causing the rock to land in Cashel. The site is open to visitors from mid-March to mid-October, offering guided tours and stunning views of the surrounding area. It's a very popular destination for history enthusiasts and tourists alike, probably one of the top 10 destinations in Ireland. Definitely a place we will have to return to in season. We didn't stay long though, we pushed on into the early evening hours of darkness. Okay, pro planning tip number 1. If you're going to be campervanning in Ireland in winter, the sun's only going to rise after 8:30 and set just after 4 p.m. So the daylight hours are really short. In summer though, at summer peak, sunset is after 10 p.m. and sunrise is at 5 a.m. A lot more hours to get on the road and to see the sight. Although in summer, you're going to have to deal with a lot more tourists and a lot busier road. Keep an eye out for those roads just now. They get really narrow. The rest of our trip was down to Hook Peninsula, chasing the darkness, and we really just pushed on, arriving there just after 6 p.m. at our destination for the night. We found a little cove just outside our destination Hook Lighthouse at the end of the Hook Peninsula, and as the evening set in, we had some supper, the wind picked up, and it had been a few hours since we checked in on the weather forecast. The weather outlook had deteriorated quite badly. There was a warning for high winds along the coast from 11 p.m. that night. Perhaps parking on top of a cliff wasn't such a good idea after all. So, it's time for a question from me to you. If you had 12 days along the Wild Atlantic Way, where would you go? Where do you think we're going to be going next? There's so many places on the Wild Atlantic Way, it's almost impossible to do all of them unless you do at least 6 weeks. And even then, you can't see everything. So, in the comments down below, guess where we will be going next. Places we haven't got to, we'll definitely be heading back. Thankfully, we live in Ireland. Everything is within a couple hours drive away from Dublin. Thankfully, we survived the first night. We were not blown off the cliff. We were shaken, but not deterred from our first extremely windy night in a camper van, although it did give us some scary hallucinations of being pushed closer and closer to the cliff edge. For our bravery, we were rewarded with some clear skies and a short 400-meter drive to the oldest operating lighthouse in the world, Hook Lighthouse. But before that, waking up just before first light, I got some good footage of the little cove as well as the short drive across to Hook Lighthouse.
Wake up, brother, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good.
So Hook Lighthouse was the official first stop for the day, and if you're into nautical facts and history like I am, this is a pilgrimage worth making. The site has been home to a beacon since the 5th century, established by a monk named Duban, who warned sailors of the dangerous rocks, keeping a continuous fire as a beacon since. The current lighthouse was built around 1172 by William Marshall, an Anglo-Norman knight. It was constructed to aid and protect the area's burgeoning shipping trade. The lighthouse is therefore over 800 years old and is the second oldest operating lighthouse in the world after the Tower of Hercules of Spain. The lighthouse is a broad cylindrical tower with a double balcony and a lantern standing 35 meters high. It was converted to electrical operation in 1972 and fully automated in 1996. Interestingly, the phrase by hook or crook is said to have originated from Oliver Cromwell's vow to take Waterford by hook or by crook. The village of Crook, that is. Today, Hook Lighthouse and Heritage Centre offers visitors a journey through its centuries-old history and stunning natural beauty. Unfortunately, the guided tours and shop were closed for the week we were there just prior to Christmas, but they are open most of the year. But that did not deter us, rather gave us more freedom to experience the lighthouse and get my drone in the air for some pre-sunrise shots going into sunrise. After the stunning sunrise, it was time to hit the road again, and we headed on to our second planned stop for the day, only 20 kilometers away. So, we arrived at stop 2, Tintern Abbey, just 30 minutes drive away, but this allowed us to retrace some of the nice scenery we missed as it was dark the year before, driving along the Hook Peninsula. We stopped at the first parking area closest to the entrance of Tintern Abbey, and it was a brisk stroll, just over a kilometer, down the greenbelt paths to the Abbey itself. Walking down, we realized that it is possible to drive down there itself, but the brisk walk was well worth it. Tintern Abbey was founded around 1200 by William Marshall, the first Earl of Pembroke. The abbey was built in Gothic style and features impressive ruins that include the nave, chancel, the tower, the chapel, and the cloister. The remains give visitors a glimpse into the grandeur and medieval ecclesiastical architecture. Like many monastic sites, Tintern Abbey was dissolved in the 16th century during the reign of King Henry VIII. Significant restoration efforts have been undertaken to preserve the ruins and the surrounding landscape. The Tintern Abbey garden are beautifully restored and open to the public. The gardens feature a variety of flowers, shrubs and trees, offering a serene and picturesque environment. Honestly, great views, sunshine still with us, and although it was a bit fresh, the walk down to the Abbey and beyond the Abbey down to Tintern Bridge was great, and I could get my drone in the air. And as for the nice walled garden, like the Abbey, this was also closed during our visit, so check in on the visitors' days, but again, off season. So we spent about an hour walking around and enjoying the early morning air before setting off once more westwards to the actual start of the Wild Atlantic Way, closer to the larger city of Cork. So our plan was to just drive directly down to Cork, not very far away, but we got distracted and saw a sign for Lismore and Lismore Castle, which piqued our interest. It was only going to be an extra 50 kilometers along to our trip and was heading in the right direction. So off we went, detouring after seeing the sign and googling the place, looking very interesting. Again, it seemed the castle is seasonal, the gardens were closed, but worth the detour, as the route to get there passed along Lismore Road, which hugged the river Blackwater, and then crossed a bridge and climbed up towards the castle and the town. Some background: the historical significance was built on the site of the 7th century Abbey. The castle has a rich history dating back to the 12th century. It was originally built as a sister castle to the Ardfinnan Castle in 1185 by Prince John of England. Over the centuries, it has been associated with various noble figures, including the Earl of Desmond and Sir Walter Raleigh. The castle has been owned by the Cavendish family since 1753 and is currently the Irish home of the Duke of Devonshire. The castle was largely rebuilt in the Gothic style during the mid-19th century for the 6th Duke of Devonshire. Notable architects like William Atkinson, Augustus Pugin, and John Gregory Grace contributed to its design. Current use: while the castle itself is not open to the public, its beautiful gardens are open from March to October, but the castle can also be rented for private events and offers a range of luxurious amenities. After the short stop in the town of Lismore, we drove onwards towards Cork, now only 50 kilometers away. As we drove in towards Cork, it was late afternoon and the rain was settling in quite a bit. We then had to refuel for the first time and drove onwards to our overnight stop in the seaside town of Cobb. Pro planning tip number 2. We found all of our overnight stops using the Park for Night app. It's an app that's widely used in Ireland and Europe to find safe park up locations, both during the day and the night, as well as amenities. The overnight stop we found the 5-foot way, a campervan site in Cobb and close to the main railway line. So there were a few trains in the early evening that we heard, a bit noisy, but a few people walking past. But for €10 charge for the night, including services for us to empty our septic tank and refuel our water, we thought it was a good find. The night we stayed there were only 1 or 2 other camper vans on. So day 3 brought us a little bit closer to the actual start of the Wild Atlantic Way. Kinsale is the official starting town when travelling from the south to the north direction of the Wild Atlantic Way. But first, leaving Cobb, we drove through the centre of Cork and realised some of the limitations of being in a 3.5 metre high, 3 metre wide, 8 metre long motorhome. So here we go. Pro planning tip number 3. If you plan on doing exploration of large towns like Dublin, Cork or Galway, then a large motorhome is really a challenge for transport. Rather park on the outskirts for the day and use public transport to get into the town centres. Don't even try and drive them in. We know we want to go back to Cork for a longer weekend break, so we plan on doing a multi-day long weekend getaway to Cork in the near future. Cork, as one of the larger commercial centres of Ireland, is a vibrant and has a rich history. We pushed onwards towards Kinsale and the official start to the Wild Atlantic Way. Kinsale town centre, the first stop, did not disappoint. Kinsale is a historic port and fishing town known for its picturesque streetscape and brightly coloured shops. It has a rich history dating back to the 12th century, often referred to as the gourmet capital of Ireland due to its numerous high-quality restaurants and annual gourmet food festivals. While we did not stop and go into any fancy restaurants, we did stop and enjoy a walkabout and lunch the local way, fish and chips. A great meal whilst parked up along the harbour, taking in the scenery, the walk around the town centre and some souvenirs pocketed. We quickly discovered that the best places to go were the Charles and James forts. These impressive forts were built in the 17th century to protect the harbour city. Onwards to our second stop, James Fort. We decided to go to the smaller of the 2 forts, the James Fort, and spend some more time there exploring the impressive fort, open to walk around and explore. It is a small walk up a hill from the parking area at the small marina, the Castle Park Marina. I was able to get some footage of the larger Charles Fort as well, just a couple hundred meters across the river. It does look impressive and we will have to return and explore that site on foot another time. Now the travel was a little easier. The roads clearly were signed Wild Atlantic Way with a direction either N for north or S for south, guiding to the next scenic lookout point. We drove on into the late afternoon to our third stop of the afternoon, the Old Head of Kinsale. We were hoping to see the Lighthouse, but unfortunately that is beyond the gate in a private golf course, so We couldn't get close to the lighthouse, but the view lookout point along the Wild Atlantic Way does allow you to get a glimpse of this stunning lighthouse. Worth the stop along the road. We pushed on to Timoleague, Friary. En route, and maybe not that much of a main stopping destination, but approaching this town, the Friary definitely is a stunning structure. I decided to take the drone out and get a little bit of flyover. In the town of Timoleague, we went to the centre to get coffee, get some supper supplies, and decided where our next overnight stop would be. We saw a sign that said a camper motorhome site just a few kilometres up the road, so we drove on, hoping to find it open, but it was closed. Like many sites in Ireland in winter, but watching a few videos, they say don't let that get you down. Try and get hold of the people on site, and they normally would be quite accommodating. But for us, that was not the case. Clearly, they were worried about insurance and anybody being on site off season, so we left a little disappointed, but onwards, knowing we had tried. Back to the Old Faithful Park for Night app. We found a nice overnight stop at Dunwurley Beach, a mere 20 minutes away. This was a quiet beach parking area and a nice evening stopover. Okay, I think that's enough for one episode. 3 days of our 12-day Wild Atlantic Way trip, done and dusted. I'll try and get the next episode out to you within the next 7 days. Same place, same time, next week. Just to make sure you don't miss the next episode, you know what to do. Click the like, hit subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.